Hello, and welcome to a new Paralives video. And in today's video, we will be building a townhouse, a Japanese-inspired townhouse. And the idea for this is to build a modern or contemporary townhouse and the Japanese style, but also include some features that are more related to the old Japanese style, or at least include some bits of history here and there, so it's not all just super modern. We will do that especially in or through the decoration, so we will have some bits that are contemporary and others that are more traditional, let's say. And the shape is pretty simple. This is pretty much the final shape, but we do add some more things to make it a bit special. The back is just a flat wall, but we do include like a planter in the front of the lot with a bike, and then we also have that kind of balcony up there. The one on the right, the one on the left actually becomes a planter, so we add plants there. But yeah, the shape of it is very simple, as you can see. This is what we will be working with, and now we're just adding that little entry way. We get some steps there, and I was actually inspired by something that I saw online when I was looking for Japanese inspired houses or townhouses. And there was a time on TikTok that I got so many videos of Japanese house tours, like newer buildings or renovated buildings, and they all had this particular style, which was still very segmented in the way that the layout worked, but much less like the traditional Japanese style, like having tatamis and all of that. So it's more like wooden floors and new appliances, bigger kitchens. So that's kind of what we went for, as if we had taken inspiration from that. And then for this part up here, I wanted this part to be filled with windows. So I'm sizing up a door, but I figured it looked too big, out of proportion, so we do change that. And we end up going for a different kind of wood tone, this latter one. And then we also go for like a white wallpaper and some wooden slabs that match that color. I wanted it to feel a little bit lighter, and so that was how I got to make it, a little bit nicer. And this window right here, it kind of looked like a balcony when I put it there, so we keep that because I like that. But yeah, this is the final color of the wood tones that we choose. And then right here we decide to put the stairs, and then also I do paint the flooring to match what's on the sidewalk next door, so in the pharmacy, because we have grass there, so I wanted just to have a continuation of that. But there's that bit that's off the limits of the lot, and I actually had to turn the toggle edit town sheet so I could go ahead and paint the rest of it so it's seamless. And then I turned it off because you never know, it could break the game sometimes. So I just turned it on, did what I had to do, and then turned it off. So, and the reason why is because the devs have put a message that that cheat could break the game, because if you go ahead and kind of change the level of the sea, for instance, it could break the game. It could make it look a bit weird. But yeah, we do this kind of flat roof, and we do add some peaked roof as well, because I felt like that was an element of Japanese architecture, even in contemporary buildings, at least the ones that I saw or that were shown to me on TikTok. So yeah, this is how it starts off, but we do change it for a different variation. We'll see it further ahead, but we do keep it on like the black color because I also felt like it was more modern, and also it just reminded me more of the style of the Japanese style. And right here we will be deciding what kind of wood paneling that we want, and we go for these vertical lines, and I felt like they matched pretty well the windows and the doors that we were going for. I just changed the texture of the wood flooring, maybe not now, but we do use that one. Yeah, it's just the base one the fact that the base one is a wooden flooring, I just keep forgetting that I can change it because it's nice as it is. And here is when we also decide to change it up and go for a door and a window, or a door and several windows, I should say. And this window right here, I'm not sure if this one, but we do use a window that is custom content, or one that I have downloaded off the Steam gallery, or the Steam workshop, I should say. And actually there are so many objects in the Steam workshop. I am amazed at what people have been able to do so far. And we actually do use quite a few objects that I have downloaded off the gallery here, including the doors that we saw there a little bit or very quickly. They are Japanese doors. And yeah, we use some other objects, some more, to give a little bit of character to this place, because otherwise it would be just a contemporary type of building. And we wanted to have character and have it look like it is authentic and inspired by Japanese architecture and interior design. Now, I do say inspired because I remember the last build that I did that was inspired by Japanese architecture. It was way back, and it was like a street of different types of buildings. And I had a lot of people saying that, disclaimer, I have never been to Japan. A lot of people were saying that it did remind them of Japan when they went there. And then I had like a couple of people saying that it looked nothing like what Japan is, and also that I was just using clickbait, which was interesting to me because I think Japanese doesn't look one way only. With every country that happens, right? You can say something is American and then it's maybe not American for the whole America, right? It might be American for a specific part of America. I don't know. I'm just going off my mouth here. But yeah, that's why I say this is inspired, and I'm not recreating anything. I'm not trying to be very accurate with what I'm doing. So the thing is, I was inspired just by these things that I saw online, and when I saw this lot, I saw that a lot of people were doing townhouses, which does make sense because the lot was made for that, I think. And so yeah, I'm not trying to recreate anything. I'm not an expert whatsoever. I'm just going off of vibes and what looks good as well. And this here at the back ends up becoming the bathroom, and also like a laundry area. The stairs don't go there, they end up going on the opposite wall. And we do this kind of entry area with a lower step, because that's very common in Japanese houses. And this is the door that I was talking about. It's a custom door. It's from a Japanese pack. They also had the other different objects that we do use, and unfortunately the flooring doesn't work. It showed like as a blank color, so that's a shame. We do end up using some rugs to kind of give that impression, at least in the living slash dining area, which is there at the front of the house by the windows. And the windows don't look like that at the end. They're shorter, and some of them are open, which I thought was kind of fun. So yeah, here I am changing the direction of the doors, and then I do push that out a little bit more. And I was trying to figure out where I wanted to put everything. And then the floor plan is quite simple. This is a 1 bathroom and 1 bedroom townhouse. This is, or ends up becoming, a walk-in closet, so that was fun. I decided to do that instead of another bathroom because in those contemporary houses or house renovations in Japan, I did see that almost all of the rooms had their own closets, and they usually were like a separate, division of the house, separate room. Even like kids' rooms did have that, despite being, on the smaller side. So I decided to include that. And we do use these big windows here at the back as well. And then for the bathroom downstairs, we divided in 3, as I said. So on the left, we have the toilet area. In the middle, we have like a sink and then the washing machine. And then on the right, we have the bathtub and also a shower. So that's fun. Here I start making the kitchen, and this is something that I saw a lot in those renovations, which is they did have these kind of half walls where the counters would go against, and then they would have this kind of glass in front of the stove. So I do take that idea and incorporate it in this build. And then for the colors, we actually just go for this simple wood and then like a marble top. We keep it with like the same color scheme that we have, or that we've had so far. And the stove that I use is actually also custom content. I know I have been just going all out with the custom content here, but they're just so good. And I check like almost daily to see what's new on the workshop, on the Steam workshop, just because some of these items are really good. Unfortunately, some of them are like broken, so they have the mesh shows just all white instead of having like their different parts, so the whole object is just white and you can't really change it. I'm not sure why that happens. Some of the modders don't know as well, but hopefully that gets fixed soon, because some objects I was so excited to use and then they were broken. But yeah, we do have some nice ones that work, however. And we do just putting some stools here. We don't have like an actual dining area. We do, but then you'll see it probably is more used as a snacking area or just a regular lounge area. So we do have these stools here so the pairs can eat. And here is when we're deciding to put the window. And this might seem odd to some people, because why wouldn't you just put it against the wall? But this is again from a lot of things that I've seen, a lot of tours, and I actually kind of like it. It's so different from like what quote unquote normal houses look like. So, you know, what we're used to, at least here. But I did enjoy making this, and I like when we get to do different things, especially in rooms like the kitchen or even the bathroom. So it's really nice to just experiment. So for the entrance area, I wasn't really able to push it back like I wanted, so I end up redoing it. And then we do a kind of built-in shelf moment there by the entrance. So this is it. So we put this wall here. And then the cool thing about Paralives is you can place another wall really close to that one, or pretty much you can put it anywhere. And then I think a window, which is more like, this one. And by turning it around, it looks like it's almost a hole in the wall, if that makes sense. And then I end up just using that as the shape to do this built-in. And it ends up just being like a place where you put your keys, you hang your coat, and all of that. So I had fun doing that. And this is a really cool trick that we also use in the kitchen later on. And, you know, it's fun. You can paint different colors because they're different walls. So the possibilities in this game are really just something else. So we do put a shelf there. And then we have like, I think a coat hanging as well. And of course, I'm using the advanced transform tool, which I have been using a lot. However, I do think that using it makes the builds break sometimes. So if you try to use it a lot, just be careful, because it might break the game, or not the game, but the build. So sometimes you might log back in and then your floors will be gone, or your stairs, or something like that. So yeah, here I was just using the tool to kind of scooch it inside a bit more. And of course, we also do have a shoe rack by the entrance. This is where you take your shoes off and get your slippers on, and then we just do that little rug there. And now moving on to the living. This is when, you know, where I say that we have this kind of dining area, which in my mind, the tatami was more like for, you know, sitting and watching TV and maybe snacking. So we end up putting some snacks there in the end, which I also downloaded from the Steam workshop. But to be fair, they were, you know, Japanese snacks, so it made perfect sense to include them in the build. And another cool thing from this pack is that it had some cool objects that seem, or that look more like grandma objects, if you may, like this one. It's so beautiful, and it gives that, or at least it gives to me that more old style. And I like thinking that the Paris renovated this house but kept a lot of these traditional elements to, you know, bring character, and maybe they were passed down from grandparents or parents. So that's the idea behind this, why we put this here. And these objects are also from this Japanese pack. So it's really, really cool. You can find it in the Steam Workshop. I think it's one of the most popular ones. So if you do end up downloading this house, you should definitely get this pack because it's just really nice. And I do replace the pillows just because I couldn't change the color of those ones. Like I said, some of the objects are broken, but this pillow right here also looks nice, I think. And I just rotated it a little bit and picked some different colors to have it around the table. And then for the laundry room, we do end up using this, which I had no idea this was a possibility. So we have this clothesline, which I thought was so cool because the longer it is, the more clothes it has hanging on it. And of course we only have the small space here, but I felt like it would be fun to have the towel like drying there. So I included that. And I think we changed the position a little bit just because when I went to live mode, the towel kind of moves as if it's in the wind. So it started clipping on the wall. So we move it a bit more to the interior of the room. And then for the bedroom, we do use that door, and we use a closet door for the closet. Not that one, the smaller one, which I thought looked really nice, and also the color matched pretty well, just the overall aesthetic of the build. So the same wood swatches. And here, as you can see, the roof is gone, but it will be back. I thought I wasn't going to include it, but then I went back and actually included it again. And also, I was inspired, of course, by the Japandi interior style. So we use this lamp, which kind of reminds me the Japandi interior style. So, you know, simple colors, textures, and organic looking. Now this one is more artistic, obviously, but it kind of reminds me of those Japanese paper lamps that we have. And then by accessing the debug catalog, we can get a lot of Japanese pictures. Well, we have a lot of paintings, like world famous paintings. And so I went through and picked the ones that I thought will look good in this build. And we do have some of these. We do kind of this small art gallery here behind the, let's call it the living area. And also we changed the flooring for this thinner one. I thought it looked more compatible to the wooden slabs that we have on the walls. I liked it because it had less texture. And also this is when I started experimenting having the windows open. I liked how it looked like this. However, it seems to be exposing too much for like a townhouse. I feel like in the countryside that would be fine to have. You could have all of it open, but it would be weird to just be sitting and having people cross by, in this case Paris, walk by. So we do change the length of it so they're not a stall, and we do end up opening up the two windows in the middle. So instead of rotating them as they were before, we actually opened them up like upwards, so like so. And you know, they still let some fresh air in and just let it breathe, because it was feeling a bit closed off since they are panels and you cannot see through them. So it's good to know that you can actually open the windows up. And then I just placed a column there to kind of complete the missing part of the wall, because we're moving the windows away from its original place in the wall. So it kind of had a gap there, so we just completed that, and now it looks a little bit better. And we also use this textured wallpaper, so the walls are not just plain white. And then also the wood we were kind of using more as a feature wall. So yeah. So, and this is when we start to tackle the bathroom. We do use these white tiles for the walls and also the flooring. That is something that I also remember seeing in those house tours. They were all just completely different rooms from the rest of the house in terms of how they operate. And I wanted to have doors to both the toilet and also the shower area. So we do include the same wardrobe door. I just thought it looked nice, and it gave some continuity to the rest of the build. And of course we also use this as the laundry room. And we do put some counters here. We have this cool feature with the counters that lets you place the washing and the dryer machines under it. And also, I was streaming yesterday and someone asked if we had like trash bins that we can place under or like integrated in the cabinets or the counters, which would be really cool. We don't have those, at least not yet. I don't know if we will, but you could place a trash can under these pieces that have like a blank spot. So that's really cool to know. And also I streamed yesterday for the first time. I didn't announce it or anything. I wanted to test it out, and I actually had some fun. We were building something else, not this build. That build will come later to the channel, but I did enjoy it, and I feel like I want to start doing it more, or at least more times. So yeah, I will do that here on YouTube and also probably on Twitch. But yeah, this here we do, like, we sink the flooring here and put the bathtub, just because I know that I've seen that a lot of these bathtubs in Japanese houses, they're like very deep, so the inside is actually lower than the floor outside. So I did do that. And then we also include a shower, just because, you know, if you want to have, or if you just want to take a shower, you can. And this is a wet room, so it doesn't really matter. Everything is supposed to be, you know, able to stay wet. So that is a cool feature of this these types of bathrooms. Now we start putting some clutter. I had the mirror there. I'm not sure if we include it in the end, but I do keep a mirror on the left side of the bathroom, so where the toilet is. I actually include a sink. It just felt weird not having one. Now I'm not sure if I play tested it, but if not, you can just use the sink that is out here. That one stays and works just fine. And we just squeeze that to put the hamper there. I thought it made sense to have it in the laundry. And it's right next to the bathroom, so yeah. And then we just start putting some clutter there. Some things that just make sense, both in the bathroom and also on the laundry. And this is when we put the sink here. Again, I'm not sure if this works, but I do feel like it should. And if not, you can just remove it and use the sink that we have outside or on the laundry. Now in the wet area, I started by having this stool. We change it up for a different type of stool, but the idea is the same. So I just wanted to place a towel on top of it, so it wasn't so empty, and also it just made sense to have a towel in here, I suppose. Okay, now we're including this fridge. This fridge is from the same pack. Sorry, no, it's from a different pack. It's from a modern kitchen pack. And it's amazing that people are already putting out kitchen packs, because I just imagine how much work it is to have all those different types of cabinets and counters. And we had double shelving there in the kitchen. We swapped for just one. And when we do like a kind of backsplash there, and we do it with a wall. So I started by using this advanced tool, but then the texture was changing as I stretched the object out, so I wasn't really into that. We go for a half wall in the end. I even tried a column, which was totally doable if I just wanted to keep like a specific color, but I wanted to have textures, so we do go for the wall. And it's as simple as this. You just place it and then you paint it, and it's like the backsplash only goes up to the shelf and it ends there. So I like that, those kinds of backsplashes as well. Those are nice additions. And I had this here in the beginning, but then we swapped for this kind of marble backsplash. I liked how it looked better, and it made more sense for a kitchen, I think. And after that, we just start decorating the kitchen. And this is one of those parts where I can just get full on concentrated and go all out. And I feel like if I'm doing a regular build in real time instead of a speed build, I just forget to speak, because there are so many things I want to put that I just get distracted. But yeah, we're putting a lot of different things, and we put some knives as well. We clutter up that shelf real good, and then we can't forget to put in a sink and also the trash can we put it like right next to it, to that counter end. And then we also do cabinets, some smaller ones up there. It felt a little bit blank, so we do include these to make them look a little bit better. And in the end, this is how pretty much it looks like. We just do, I think, 2 more. Now here in the living area, as I said, we do use these rugs to kind of have the impression that we don't have a wooden flooring there. And I just size them up and down and start layering them. This took me a little bit, but the general idea is this. So placing them like so, and I like the texture of this rug because it really did remind me of the flooring that you do see in traditional Japanese houses. And then some of the rugs were clipping into each other, so by using the shift key you can lift them up. So I lifted some of them up like ever so slightly, so they're like some above the other and not actually clipping. That's also a cool hack if you want to try doing something like this, or if you have any objects that are clipping, even like counters, you can raise one of them like just a millimeter or something, and then they will be, you know, not clipping anymore, and it gives the illusion that they're the same height. Now moving to the bedroom, we keep the bedroom pretty simple, I would say, in terms of furniture, but also colors. We go for the same colors that we have in the rest of the house, so the woods and mainly the whites. And I feel like this is the most modern space in the house because we do have more influence of that Japandi style, which goes for this minimalistic vibe. And that painting on the wall there with the frog, I really like. So we include that above the bed. And I do like these side tables. These are my current favorites in the game. They are versatile, and yeah, I like using them. The way you can just drag and stretch them out is so nice. But yeah, we just increase the size of the picture and place it there. I am obsessed with it. And then for the wardrobe or the walk-in closet, we use this one that I have actually used quite a few times in my builds. I also like that they look built in, so it's just easier to, or it just gives this look that I always try to achieve. And also the fact that you can drag them out and have still those shelves prepared for clutter. It's really nice. They are really nice pieces. And now we just put some lamps as well. I do different lamps, and I chose more organic shapes and also materials. And we do this divider, which I think fits the style of that Japanese style, also more traditional, while still giving privacy from the outside, because we do have that giant, those giant windows and doors. And so having this kind of provides a little bit of privacy, and I like that. And this is where we end up putting a desk. So we have a little desk office area, because we didn't have any other spots in the house where we could put a desk, and we had this big bedroom, so yeah, we go for it here. And we just place some clutter as well as a computer. And we also use this lamp again. I just really like how it looks, and again, it gives me that Japandi vibe, so I wanted to use it in the bedroom as well. And then we include a big rug to kind of be everything in this bedroom. I think we go for this one. Yeah, we go for this one in the end. And then I think we just include some plants. We also have this little balcony up there right off the bedroom, which is really nice. And yeah, we do include some more clutter items here. And these, I felt like they would be really cool as well to have as more traditional elements in the house, having the china represented or displayed like that. And this is the stool that we actually end up using in the bathroom and not the other one, just because the other was round and I felt like it would fit better one that was square-ish, so we can place the towel there. And also it provides some more spots for us to clutter and to have different clutter items there in the wet room. And also this object, I'm so glad they included this in the game, because this is absolutely just grandma core. My grandma had so many of these. I think I also had some of these in my own bedroom or in my house by influence of my grandmother. And yeah, I just had to include one there, since we have this contemporary and traditional styles mixing. I was thinking of maybe going for a fireplace here, and then I also tried to do a built-in, but in the end we go for this traditional style, and we include this piece right here in a darker wood. I don't know, it also, as I said, it gives me those old day vibes. And then we also go for more of a traditional style with the TV instead of going for like a plasma TV. Maybe all of these were handed down or passed down. And we also have a radio. And this is what I mean when I wanted to introduce some traditional elements, so where the old meets the new, because I know contemporary style isn't really everyone's cup of tea. My first house in Paralives, I actually tweeted about it, and I included a picture, and the majority of the people were really nice, but some people were criticizing and saying that it was the ugliest house they had ever seen, which it doesn't affect me personally. I just think there are many different ways to say what you mean without being mean. And also, I think it was a pretty good attempt for my first build in Paralives. And now that I feel a little bit more used to the build mode in the game, I can try to do different things and, do contemporary builds that have some other spins to it. But yeah, as you can see, it's kind of dark, and I actually go to the settings and turn off the ceiling mode just because we get more light, so it's better just to see what we're doing. And here is I'm cluttering up after I installed some new items. So we have these umbrellas for the entryway, and I was able to install more things after the update that they released, or the devs released, which fixes that loading problem or the importing assets problem. So I'm really glad they did that, because now I was able to install a lot of the mods that I was eager to experiment with. Now here I was trying to see which painting would look better above this working station, and I think we go for the cat one, obviously, and we use this one on here on the landing area. And I thought of doing another gallery type of situation, but as I said, I was more influenced by the Japandi style, so simpler, more minimalistic. But I liked the cat painting there. I liked how it came out. And yeah, I also got some cool objects. So we have this clutter, all of these clutter items that we can put. So I was just using them to make this look more lived in. And also the post-it notes. And here we have those food elements that I was talking about that I downloaded from a mod. So we have Japanese food or Japanese inspired food, and also beverages. So I included that. And I have never tried one of these sandwiches with like the filling in the middle and the strawberries, but I really want to. And we also, of course, have the onigiri and the sake. And then we're placing some keys on the entrance area in this plate. The slider is a bit fidgety at times, especially with really small items or with rugs. So it would be nice to have maybe a slider or something like that next to the object, so we're not fighting against it. But yeah, here I was just taking a look at how everything was looking. And then I used this object to kind of make a shutter. I feel like it would be nice to have the option of including a shutter. So I used just the same texture from the walls to create it. Now we do use these plants outside. Originally, they are really tall. They're even taller than the building itself. So I just sized them down. However, I'm not sure that we keep those because all of the trees in the game, they sway in the wind. So these were swaying and they were clipping inside the home. So I end up not using them. And up here we also do like this green balcony area with some plants. I felt like the place could use some greenery, not only on the front, but then also here in the back. This wall was just very plain. So we had those vines. Since we're so close to this foliage in the back of the house, I felt like it was a nice addition. So yeah, we just add more plants. I did get that mod that everyone was suggesting, so the separate pots and plants, which is so extremely handy. I just hadn't installed yet because the game wasn't letting me load sometimes after I installed some mods. So after the hotfix, I was able to. and then we just put some furniture here on the balcony. But actually we're coming close to the end, so how about we just jump into the game and check out how the build looks like in the end. So here we are in the final build, and this is what it ended up looking like. I kind of really like the contrast between the new building against these two old buildings. But yeah, this is our little townhouse with quite a lot of greenery as well. And then this is the roof that we end up putting in the house. And this is the back of the townhouse. So it's pretty simple. And I am actually using a mod that lets you control the camera as if it's the Sims tab mode, so that's really handy to do these tours. So let's just walk into the house, and first off we have this entryway, and this is the little built-in shelf that we did. So we have here the place to take off our shoes, and we go right up to the kitchen. So this is what it looks like with all of the clutter. We have our own custom oven area, and then we have these counters here where you can sit at and eat, so that's really nice. And then behind it we have this old furniture piece with some clutter items. And I also saw this is a custom object, the crate, and then I used some books to kind of pretend that these are actual records for the record player. So I thought that was a really cool building hack. And then right here we have the eating area. So we do have the open windows, which is really nice. We have some snacks, the little gallery wall, and then we have this piece as well with some clutter items. So I decided to include some more vintage pieces. And then if we walk this way and we go in, we actually have the laundry area. So the towel is just hanging about, and we had an open window here, but I think it got rid of that, so that's a shame. And through this door we have the little bathroom nook, let's call it that, or the toilet room. And then out again and through the other door we have the wet area. So we do have the bathtub, which is sunk into the ground, and then we also have a shower if we want that. And now back out again and through this door. I feel like this is a really cool alternative to having the doors closed. Sorry, the windows closed. And then if we go up, we do have this little face here. If you know Ghibli movies, you probably know what this is. We have these big windows. I put a plant for some more privacy, and also we have the blinds. We have a nice painting, and then we have the door to the bedroom. And this is what it looks like. So very simple and clean. We have some organic materials. Also included an AC in here. And then we have the computer station thing with some figurines and some clutter items as well. And then right through this door we have the walk-in closet. So I did place a lot of clutter here, and also like these cabinets and this ladder to get up there. Of course we also have a mirror here. But yeah, since the walls are so tall, or the ceiling is really tall, I felt like it was cool to have some storage here, because the rest of the home is pretty clean. And yeah, a nice wardrobe area. And then through this door we have the little balcony. We have some lights here and also some plants. And it's just nice to be sitting here and maybe reading or chatting. So yeah, this is the whole house. Let me know what you think. And this is the floor plan if you're interested in seeing how it looks. This is the ground floor. I actually had a lot of fun building this and kind of joining the concepts of old and new, while also trying to make something inspired by the Japanese style and also a townhouse. So yeah, this here is definitely a feature that could be more out there, but I think it's a fun spin on the area of town that we're at, which seems more traditional. But yeah, let me know what you think of this build. If you like it, what would you change about it? And if you have any other suggestions, I am up to try anything new. Also, this build will be on the Steam Workshop. You can probably just search for my ID, which is Wistuff as well. And thank you so much for watching and sticking to the end. I hope you like this build, and I hope you have a nice day. See you on the next video. Bye bye.